Audio Jungle.
So hi everyone. So today the video will be regarding the receptors. One important thing before I get started into the receptors is that receptors is the main basic knowledge for your entire pharmacology, right? As well as entire your medical life, including your biochemistry. In pharmacology, you come across many drugs, and you need to mug up many mechanisms. So there is no need to mug up all the mechanisms. The one thing which you need to know is that you need to have a clear-cut concept on the receptors. If you have a clear-cut concept, then whatever the drug may be, you can easily understand the mechanism and how the drug is acting on the cell and altering the cell, right? So first of all, before I get started into receptors, the main classification of receptors is that, so before that, there are many families of receptors, right? There are many, some thousands of families of receptors. But mainly the receptors, based upon the shape, they are divided into three, or they are classified into three, right? Based upon the shape, we just need to study only the important classifications of receptor. Based upon shape, the receptors are mainly classified into three types. Some receptors are called as serpentine receptors, right? Some group of receptors are called as serpentine receptors. Some group of receptors are called as one pass receptors, and the other group are called as ion channels. So in this way there are three classifications, not three classifications. In a single classification based upon the shape, there are three types of receptors based upon the shape. Some are serpentine receptors, another group is called as one pass receptors, and another is called as ion channel. These are based upon shape, not based upon the type of receptor, but based upon only the shape, right? So why the name serpentine receptors has come to some group of receptors? Because the serpentine receptor, so let me draw a cell and explain you. This is a cell, and I'll explaining you this cell with this serpentine receptor, and this is the second cell for one pass and the third cell, right? Now this is your nucleus of the cell, and this is your genetic material, DNA, chromosome, whatever it may be, right? Now what are exactly serpentine receptors and how do they look like? So this is the serpentine receptor. So this is your serpentine receptor. Why it has got a name serpentine? Serpentine in the sense a snake like. So we call that snake like receptor as serpentine receptor. The other name for, so as you see here, this receptor is like a snake, right? It is waving inside and out, in and out. So it looks like a snake. So we call this receptor as serpentine receptor. And the other name for this serpentine receptor is 7-pass receptor. And the other name is 7-pass receptor. Why we call it as 7-pass? Because as you see here, this receptor passes 7 times in and out. In, out, in, out. In this fashion it passes 7 times. So we call it as 7-pass receptor. And there is one more name for this receptor called as G protein coupled. So I'll be explaining you when I'll go with individual receptors in the videos. So now I will not explain you what is the other name of that, right? So for a while you need to remember the other name for serpentine receptor is 7-pass receptor. Why it is called serpentine? Because it is a form of snake. And why we call it 7-pass? Because it waves in and out, or it comes inside and out 7 times, right? Now coming to 1-pass. As I told, 7-pass is it passes 7 times, but 1-pass it passes only 1 time. So this is your receptor and it passes 1 time, right? And this comb-like structure which I am drawing here, it is just a representation. I will be explaining you later now in a minute. So it passes only one time, right? So we call this receptor as one pass receptor. And ion channels, as you know in the previous video of neuromuscular junction, I've shown you how are the ion channels, the sodium channels, the calcium channels, the potassium channels, right? And also the channels that are present on the muscle, there is a post synaptic membrane channels, right? So they are in the form, they are cylindrical shape. So these channels are like this. These are ion channels, right? Generally ion channels are closed like this. So suppose this entire my hand, my wrist, this entire thing you take as ion channel, cylindrical ion channel, it is generally closed. But when ion channel is, this one is activated, it opens its pores. When the hole or when the pore gets opened, the ions from outside are influxed inside, or the ions from inside are effluxed outside, right? So that is the main, this is the main classification. Once again, serpentine receptors, one pass receptors and ion channels. Serpentine receptors are snake-like and passes 7 times, so called as 7 pass. One pass receptors passes only one time, and ion channels, you know this one, right? And on the ion channels you have ligand binding site. So I'll explain what is that actually, right? So this is one classification. Now we go on to the classification based upon what type of ligand is attaching to the receptor. This is the classification based on shape. Now we'll go on to the classification based on what ligand is getting attached to that particular receptor, right? So I'll explain you now about the ligand binding concept of these receptors. Based upon what ligand, the receptor name will be changed. Based upon the ligand, the receptor name will be changed, right? Now, you know there are two types of systems mainly that are fluctuating in our body. One is adrenergic system. So, okay, let me draw it. For suppose when you take this as your receptor, receptor is anything that receives, right? This is your receptor. Now, receptor has a specific site, right? This is the specific site of the receptor. So at this site the ligand gets binded here. These are the specific points or the specific sites of the receptor onto which the ligand is attached with. So this part of the receptor to which the ligand is attached is called as ligand binding site of the receptor. So this you call it as ligand binding site or active site. Ligand binding site or active site. So ligand binds to ligand binding site. Now as I told you, this is ligand. Name me different types of ligands. What are the types of ligands that are present in our system, body system? You know, neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters, as you see, neurotransmitters fall on the receptors and alter the changes of the cell. I mean, they alter the entire cell, right? So neurotransmitters are considered as ligands. Hormones are considered as ligands. Different types of toxins, right? Tubocurare or what a digitoxin or whatever toxin it may be. Different types of toxins, they are considered as ligands. Because all these molecules which I am explaining you, these molecules bind to the receptor, right? Bind to the receptor and alter the cell. For suppose this is your cell and this is your nucleus, right? So this receptor, right, is having ligand binding site to which ligand gets attached. It may be neurotransmitter or whatever it may be. It binds here and activates the receptor, and in turn receptor gets activated. In turn the receptor activates this entire cell, right? Once again, ligand comes and binds to ligand binding site of the receptor, and the receptor gets activated, and receptor sends impulses to a domain which is present inside, attached to the receptor, is called as effector domain. As I told you that, for suppose this is your serpentine receptor, it passes 7 times, and there is a comb-like structure like this, right? And this was your cell, and this is your ligand that is binding here, and the ligand binds to this part of the receptor. This is called as your ligand binding site. When ligand binds to this part of your receptor, the impulses pass all the way like this down till here. This is called as effector site of the receptor. It means that it affects the cell in such a way that it has to perform a specific respective function based upon the type of neurotransmitter that is attached. For suppose if norepinephrine is attached, the cell gets activated. For suppose GABA is attached, the cell gets deactivated, right? So this effector domain listens the words of the receptor based upon the ligand. It acts based upon the ligand, whatever ligand it may be, based upon the ligand it gets activated. So coming back, to a general discussion, as I told you, there are different types of ligands, right? Neurotransmitters are one type of ligand. Hormones are one type of ligand. And next, what else? Toxins, as I told you. Toxins are one type of ligands. And poisons are one type of ligands. And the drugs, the pharmacological drugs or whatever drugs it may be, drugs of addiction or drugs of pharmacology. So all these things come under ligand. So it binds to the receptor, the ligand binding site of the receptor, and activates the cell, right? So now we will have a classification based upon the systems in our body. Receptor classification based upon systems in our body. Now, basically there are two systems that are fluctuating in our body, as I told you before. One is adrenergic system, another one is cholinergic system. So what is exactly adrenergic system and what is exactly cholinergic system, right? So this is a cell body of the neuron, right? This is neuron 1 and this is the second neuron, neuron 2. For example, that's it. So this is your neuron 1 and this is your neuron 2. Now, neuron innervates cells of your body or muscles or muscle cells or whatever it may be. So here there is a type of receptor and here also there is type of receptor, right? And with its effector domain. This is the receptor binding site and this is your effector domain, which affects the cells or alters the cells based upon the type of chemical neurotransmitter or the ligand that is released. Based upon the ligand that is released, this effector domain affects or alters the cell. Now, suppose this neuron is releasing acetylcholine. So you name this neuron as cholinergic neuron, right? For suppose if a neuron is releasing acetylcholine, you name that neuron as cholinergic neuron. If a neuron is releasing norepinephrine, you name that neuron as adrenergic neuron, right? In the same way, if the neuron is releasing GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid, that neuron is named as GABAergic neuron. And in the same way, if the neuron is releasing dopamine, you call it as dopaminergic. If the neuron is releasing glutamine, you call it as glutaminergic neuron, right? Now, if this neuron is releasing adrenaline, or adrenaline in the sense epinephrine, noradrenaline in the sense norepinephrine, right? Whatever it may be, I'll call it as norepinephrine. So if this neuron is releasing norepinephrine, then you call this neuron as adrenergic neuron. For suppose this neuron is adrenergic neuron and this neuron is releasing acetylcholine, so we call this neuron as cholinergic neuron, right? Now, these are the receptors. This receptor may receive acetylcholine, or this receptor may receive norepinephrine, or that receptor may receive dopamine, or that receptor may receive GABA, dopamine, acetylcholine, whatever it may be, glutamine, and whatever the neurotransmitter it may be. So the name of the receptor is also based upon the ligand that is attached to the receptor. As I told you just now, the name of the neuron depends upon the type of neurotransmitter it is releasing. In the same way, the name of the receptor is also based upon the ligand it is getting attached with. For suppose this receptor is receiving GABA, so we call this receptor as GABA receptor. If this receptor is receiving dopamine, we call that as dopamine receptor, right? In this condition, it is receiving adrenaline, norepinephrine. So we call this receptor as adrenergic receptor. So simple. And this receptor is receiving acetylcholine, so we call this receptor as cholinergic receptor. Now, as I told you, receptors are classified on mainly two types. One is based upon the shapes and based upon the systems. Based upon the systems, there are two classifications: adrenergic receptors and cholinergic receptors. Now I think you have got a clear-cut concept regarding this receptor, cholinergic receptor as well as adrenergic receptor. Now we'll go the classification with that. What are the different types of cholinergic receptors? First we'll start with adrenergic ones and we'll compare and contrast it. Adrenergic receptors, and here we'll go with cholinergic receptors. This is cholinergic and this is adrenergic. So adrenergic receptors, when I say adrenergic receptors, you need to know what is the shape of that receptor. Either it is 7 pass or 1 pass or ion channels. What is the exact shape? The simple way to remember is all adrenergic receptors are snake-like receptors or serpentine receptors. So in the MCQs, if you come across a question like this, snake-like receptors are present in adrenergic receptors and some part of cholinergic I'll be explaining, So all the adrenergic receptors are serpentine receptors. So what are the different types of adrenergic receptors? Alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2 and beta 3, right? So these are different types of adrenergic receptor. So when you look at the shape of alpha 1, it looks like serpentine receptor. If you look at the shape of alpha 2 or beta 1 or beta 2, beta 3, all these receptors, all the receptors have same shape, they are serpentine receptors. It depends upon the type of protein that is attached to the effector site. As I told you, there is a comb-like structure called as effector site. To that effector site, one type of protein that is attached. For suppose for alpha 1, there is GQ protein that is attached. For alpha 2, there is GI protein, and for all these there is GS. So I will be explaining you when I will explain the mechanisms, right? So now I will not touch about the proteins, just remember this. Adrenergic receptors are 5 types: alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, and their shapes are, all of them are serpentine, right? Coming to cholinergic, this is the most important. Although even this is also important, cholinergic receptors are mainly classified as 2. Some are called as nicotinic, some are called as muscarinic receptors, right? Just before I have told you that this is a neuron. If this neuron is releasing acetylcholine, we call this neuron as cholinergic neuron, right? And this is your cell having a receptor, and if this receptor is receiving acetylcholine, you call this receptor as cholinergic neuron. And here you need to remember that this cholinergic cholinergic receptor, cholinergic receptor receives acetylcholine. And one important thing is that this cholinergic receptor receives acetylcholine, right, as well as nicotine also. I mean to say that this cholinergic receptor activates this cell when a ligand called acetylcholine as well as a ligand called nicotine binds to it. So it activates the cell with the help of acetylcholine, not only acetylcholine but also with nicotine, right? And there are some type of neurons, some type of receptors that take up acetylcholine as well, but not nicotine, but it is muscarine. Muscarine is the substance that is obtained from mushrooms, right? So those receptors activate the cell only when either acetylcholine or muscarine gets attached to the receptor. And some receptors activate the cell only when acetylcholine or nicotine attaches to the receptor, right? So no need to confuse regarding this. And coming to muscarinic receptors, muscarinic and coming to nicotinic. In nicotinic, the first letter is N, so all the receptors are named as N-type receptors. N neuronal type, N muscle type. So I will be explaining what is neuronal and muscle. Coming to muscarinic, there are 5 types. So starts with M, so it is M1, M2, M3, M4, M5. There are 5 muscarinic receptors and 2 nicotinic receptors. Coming to the shapes, as I told you, all adrenergic are serpentine. In cholinergic, all your muscarinic receptors are serpentine, right? And in nicotinic, only the neuronal type are neuronal type are serpentine, and neuromuscular is ion channel. So simple way to remember is that in comparing with your adrenergic system and cholinergic system, only nicotinic of muscle type, this is nicotinic of muscle type, nicotinic of neuron type. So all your cholinergic and adrenergic receptors, when you keep side to side, only nicotinic of muscle type are ion channels, remaining all are serpentine receptors, right? So that's so simple, right? As I told you, ion channels are like this, right? And the serpentine are snake shape with an effector domain inside, right? Now, as I told you, what is neuronal type and neuromuscle type? This is a cholinergic neuron. It means it is releasing acetylcholine, and this is one more neuron, right? I don't know what type of neurotransmitter this is releasing, but I know that this upper neuron is releasing acetylcholine, right? Now, as I told you, this receptor releases, this neuron has to activate this neuron. It means first this neuron has to release some chemical mediators or neurotransmitters. As I told you, this is a cholinergic neuron, so it releases acetylcholine. And this acetylcholine has to be received by this neuron. So there must be one receptor that is present on this neuron, right? That receptor is of serpentine type. So this is one receptor that is present on the another neuron. So this type of receptor, if the receptor is present on the neuron, so you call this receptor as nicotinic of neuron type receptor. It means that this nicotinic receptor, N is nicotinic, present on the neuron. So this is the nicotinic receptor. Although we also call it as cholinergic receptor, but this receptor receives both acetylcholine and nicotine. It has a capability to activate this entire neuron with the help of acetylcholine as well as nicotine. So we generally call it as nicotinic cholinergic receptor because it gets activated with the help of nicotine as well as choline. Now, it receives both nicotine and choline, and this neuron, moreover, it is present on this receptor, moreover, it is present on the neuron. So you call this receptor as nicotinic of neuron type. Now you may guess nicotinic of muscle type in the sense This receptor is present on the muscle. And moreover, what is the shape of the receptor? As I told you, only NM type of receptors are ion channels, remaining all are serpentine. So this is your muscle. In the previous video when I talked about the neuromuscular junction, I have drawn you a cylindrical shape ion channel here, right? And moreover, this ion channel has, as I told you, receptors have ligand binding site. Now here acetylcholine is released, and this acetylcholine is acting on this ligand binding site of the receptor, right? So this is a nicotinic receptor because this receptor gets activated with the help of nicotine as well as acetylcholine. So you call this receptor as nicotinic cholinergic receptor of which type, on which it is present, I mean on which part it is present, muscle, of muscle type. Even the same, this one, this is a nicotinic cholinergic receptor present on neuron, right? So we call this as nicotinic receptor of neuron type, and this is nicotinic receptor of muscle type. So this is the classification of the receptors. And fast review: receptors based upon the shape, snake-like, called as serpentine, one-pass receptor, as well as ion channels, right? Receptors based upon the systems: adrenergic receptors, cholinergic receptors. Adrenergic receptors are alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. All of them are serpentine. Cholinergic receptors are nicotinic, muscarinic, because these receptors are activated in the presence of nicotine as well as muscarine. So when I say M1 receptor gets activated with the help of what type of substances, then you need to say M1 receptor, in the sense it is muscarinic receptor, so it will be activated with the help of muscarine as well as acetylcholine, but not with nicotine. There is a special group for nicotinic receptors, NN, NM. When I say any one of these, when I ask any one of these, you need to say NM receptors or NN receptors, whatever it may be. They will be activated by mainly two ligands. One is nicotine as well as choline, right? And only nicotinic cholinergic receptor of muscle type is having ion channels. Remaining all receptors of both the systems are having serpentine shaped receptors. So the next video will be regarding the adrenergic system as well as the cholinergic system and the receptor mechanism, right? So next video will be the most important video, because that is the basic mechanism of your entire pharmacology, right? Thank you. And this is Medico Tutorial signing off. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.